Marla Green had always been a seeker of what others tried to forget. While some chased Instagram glory in sunlit ruins or colorful graffiti tunnels, she was drawn to places that felt wrong: abandoned asylums, half-collapsed funeral homes, overgrown graveyards. Not for fame, for something stranger. She called it truth at the edge of rot. So when she found the mention of Briar Hollow in a half-defunct urban legends forum called the Scrawl, it stirred something in her. A single thread, nearly a decade old, had described a village cursed by its own sins, swallowed by the Elkwood Forest. Buried in a grave none dared to mark. The post ended simply, "Don't follow the lantern, even if it knows your name." By the end of the week, Marla was en route. Elkwood wasn't on most maps, and what roads there were quickly turned to moss-choked trails. Locals at the last gas station, 2 hours outside town, refused to speak when she asked. One man behind the counter stared at her until her skin crawled. She could feel it in her bones she was being warned, not ignored. She parked at the trailhead as the sun began to sink. Tall, black-trunked trees loomed, their bark blistered like burn scars. The deeper she walked, the quieter it became, until not even the wind moved, only her boots crunching leaves. After 3 hours, just as twilight slipped into true dark, she found the village, or what was left. It wasn't ruins, not exactly. The village seemed paused, caught in some rotting stillness. Wood sagged. Windows stared hollow-eyed, yet there were no signs of collapse or weather erosion. Everything looked arrested, like time had bent around it. At the center stood the chapel. It was small, maybe 20 feet long, made of pale wood and stone. Ivy wrapped its bones, and atop the doorway hung a lantern. But not metal or glass. This lantern was made of yellowed, curved bone. Human ribs, perhaps, delicately tied together with sinew. It swung without breeze. As she approached, her flashlight dimmed. She replaced the batteries. It dimmed again. She touched the chapel door. It opened on its own. The chapel's interior smelled of dry rot and something faintly sweet, like spoiled wine. The pews were intact, though covered in dust. At the pulpit stood a figure, tall and still. A priest dressed in vestments the color of ash. His face was mummified and his lips were sewn shut with human hair. Marla stepped closer. Below the pulpit was a stone trapdoor. Carved into it were dozens, no, hundreds of names. Deeply scratched, not chiseled, and in its center the sigil of a broken sun. She knelt to take a picture. Then came the knock from beneath. 3 slow, echoing thuds. Marla froze. The lantern above the chapel began to glow. It floated into the room. The lantern moved like a ghost, its ribs pulsing with pale fire. It hovered above the trapdoor, casting shadows that writhed like worms. Then the priest moved. His chest rose. He turned his face toward Marla, the hair stitching his mouth twitching. A voice rasped through the silence, not through his lips, but inside her skull. "They are not dead. They only sleep when it's dark." Marla stumbled back. The door slammed shut. The lantern flashed, and she saw them, faces peering through the cracks in the trapdoor, pale, sunken, watching. She fled. Outside, the forest was not as she had left it. The trail was gone. The trees had closed in, leaning unnaturally. Yet the lantern floated behind her, always the same distance, never closer, never further. She ran until her lungs burned, until the bones in her ankles throbbed. Somehow, she made it back to her car. But when she drove, the road never ended. A loop. No matter how far she went, she always returned to the chapel. At dawn, the lantern vanished, and she found the road again. She told no one, posted nothing. Weeks passed. The dreams started. Trees bleeding from their bark, whispers in her closet, shadows under her bed. Every night she'd wake gasping, sure she heard the knock. 3 thuds. Then the power went out. At exactly 3:03 a.m., she turned to her bedroom window, and there it was, the bone lantern, hanging outside, glowing. She didn't scream, she just stared. Then came the voice, soft, inside her ear. "You saw them, so now they see you." In the weeks that followed, friends lost contact. Her phone, dead. Mail piled up. One neighbor reported strange lights through the windows, like flickering candlelight at all hours. Then silence. When police entered the apartment, it was immaculate. Clean, empty. No blood, no body. Only a dusty flashlight, a broken crowbar, and a lantern made of human bone hanging from the ceiling, still glowing. At night, if you walk near Elkwood's edge, you might see it. The flicker of pale flame drifting through the trees. It calls to some, especially those who don't belong. The curious, the lonely, the ones who feel they're already half dead. And if you follow it, you'll find the hollow. They say the chapel's doors are always unlocked, and the trapdoor has many, many names left to carve.